Hello friends, my name is Dante and today I attempted the impossible. Today I attempted the improbable. Can you kill the Verdugo in Resident Evil 4 with only a door? I know, it sounds crazy, doesn't it? The first thing that might pop into your head is, what the heck do you mean by this, Dante? Are you gonna pop the door off its hinges WWE style and smash the Verdugo over the head with it? No guys, that's a little excessive, don't you think? I mean, that sounds a little unrealistic. Instead, I'm gonna slam the door open as hard as I can and stub his toes until he eventually succumbs to his inevitable death. No biggie. I understand there's many questions you could be having right now, and don't worry, I'll be answering all of them, so stick around. Before we really jump into it, I want to give some credit to the man, the myth, the legend himself, ScottRocks20. He's the entire reason this video and idea even exists, so thank you my man, very cool. You can see here that I uploaded a funny moment to Reddit from a no merchant playthrough I was doing in Resident Evil 4 where the Verdugo got stuck on the door. As a side note, I can reproduce this glitch every single time I do this part, which is pretty cool. Just thought I'd flex on ya. Anyway, I uploaded this clip to Reddit, and as I left the room, I kicked the door open as hard as I could and smashed the Verdugo back a few feet. I thought nothing of it at the time. I was just happy to have found a glitch like this, and I hightailed it to the elevator. But ScottRocks20 pointed out in my comments that he couldn't believe the Verdugo took damage from the door kick. And I was like, what the frick? He took damage from that? And ScottRocks was like, yeah, he takes damage but not a whole lot. It would probably take an ungodly amount of time to kill him. But light bulbs were going off in my head, boys. I'm the guy who did the same goddamn boss fight in the Resident Evil 2 remake for 9 hours straight, so I was prepared for anything. By the way, if you like Resident Evil, subscribe to my channel because I do Resident Evil challenge gaming videos every week. It's all I do. And one thing here, if you don't know what the Verdugo is, he's Salazar's right-hand man. That bug thingy you fight in the sewers with the liquid nitrogen tanks. I used to just call him the black bug guy, but to make things simple, I'll just call him by his actual name, which is the Verdugo. So first, big question we all have. In fact, it's a question I had too, because I was pretty skeptical that the Verdugo took damage from the door kick. Can you even kill an enemy with a door? Is it possible? You can't blame me. I didn't want to be there kicking away for hours with nothing to show for it. I needed a test subject. In comes Richard. Richard is a decent guy. You know, he's got a wife, some kids. He's a real hard-working fellow. He comes to work every day with a pitchfork in hand, ready to make some real good money. Unfortunately, someone has to be my little test subject. So, I picked Richard. I killed all of his friends in front of him, blowing their bodies apart with dynamite so that their bodily fluid splattered across all of the walls, and it was now time to get to work. Now don't get me wrong, it did feel wrong to torture this man. After all, the door does a lot less damage than the knife, so I was just slowly and brutally crushing his leg bones until he eventually died from it. I even crushed his knee at one point, and you can see he was in complete agony, but it had to be done. His little friend tried to join in halfway through, and unfortunately, I did have to murder him with a fully automatic assault rifle right beside Richard. At one point, I decided it was best to dispatch of the dangerous bear traps around me, but Richard, the god himself, went to step into one. I stopped shooting immediately to preserve his precious ankles, but to my surprise, the bear trap didn't go off. Amazing. Richard is an even stronger warrior than I had originally made him out to be. Richard's pitchfork seemed to be his weak point, because anytime he'd get within door kicking distance of the door, his pitchfork would poke through, giving me the signal to smash the door open at Mach 5 speed. After a long and painful 3.5 minutes, Richard's knees decided they couldn't take any more, and sent a shockwave to his heart, which ultimately ended his life right there. Yes! So now I knew that enemies could actually be killed with door kicks, but also, rest in peace Richard. Your sacrifice won't be for nothing. But we can't just go straight for the Verdugo, my children. First, we must perform one final exorcism. It was the chainsaw guy's turn. Now, coming into this, I had low hopes. I know for a fact that the chainsaw guy breaks down doors, and I didn't even know if he could be stunned from a door slam. For all I knew, he'd take the toe stubs like a champ and just yeet his chainsaw through my throat. It was game time. My first step of action was to murder all of the villagers in the area so that they couldn't interfere in the battle. I ran downstairs, blasted open the bathroom door SWAT style, and murdered the filthy Ganado next to the urinal, right where he belonged. Wait, was that Richard? Richard! Now all that was left were the villagers behind the chainsaw guy. I shot down the door to the outside, murdered the villagers, and then realized that I had just shot down the door that was needed to kill the chainsaw guy. So I did everything over again, this time avoiding shooting down the door like a retard, and now it was game time. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I did die a fair number of times. The chainsaw guy himself is easy enough to dodge. You just tease him, he'll go in for the kill, and you can run right by him flawlessly every time. But timing the door is a different story. In fact, the first time I tried to door slam him, I lined it up perfectly for him to chop my head off.
It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
Actually, a big part of door slamming at the pro level is audio cues. Listening to the sound of the game to determine when the best time to strike is. And luckily, right before he'd break down the door, he'd rev the chainsaw, which gave me the cue to crush his little toes beneath the door. And holy hell, boys, he gets stunned every time the door hits him. Hell yeah, man, this is definitely doable. But there's two things I have to avoid. First, if he kills me, I have to start all over again. This isn't like Richard, where he can hit me and I can keep going. Bless his soul. It's one and done, baby. Insta-kills and creamy fills. Also, if he breaks down the door, I have no weapon to use against him. I broke down Richard number 2's door, so there's no using that. And either way, I wouldn't want to disrespect his grave with another man's body. That piss-soaked bathroom floor absorbed Richard number 2's body into the foundation itself. It's a sacred place now. Alright. So after a few attempts of this whole thing, I finally figured out a way to avoid the chainsaw guy killing me, while also avoiding him breaking down the door. It was twice as slow as my other strategy I had thought of, but at least I wouldn't be wasting time reloading a checkpoint and starting all over again. And by the way, out of all enemies in this game, I'm most terrified of the chainsaw guy, and I had to go through hell to get this footage. So if you're enjoying the video, please click the like button to show me some support. Eventually, for a fight that lasted about 15 minutes of just constant door kicking, I finally frigging did it, boys. I killed a chainsaw guy in Resident Evil 4 with only a door. Yes, thank you, I'll accept the award. I'd like to thank my mom and dad for always supporting me, my coaches for always pushing me through the tough times. Oh wait, I still have to kill the Verdugo, don't I? Well, either way, we've taken the first step. We now know that a boss can be killed with a puny wooden door. So next is the final boss battle. The moment you've all been waiting for, the Verdugo. Before I even thought about killing this guy door only, I had to see if he could be killed with the door as a final hit. This would once and for all prove to me that he does take damage from the door. But unsurprisingly, the Verdugo has a pattern to his door kicking. Like the chainsaw guy, I had to master the audio cues and the door vibrations the Verdugo used. I could go into so much frigging detail on what I had to do and what I had to master to even have a chance at fighting the Verdugo door only. But not only would that be boring, it would take forever. So, I'll keep it short. My first strategy was to time the door the same way I did with the chainsaw guy, by way of visual or audio cue. But, just like the chainsaw guy, I had to be careful because the Verdugo can also break down doors. Luckily, I have 2 doors to use on him, but still, if he breaks down both doors, I'm screwed and have to start all over again. Timing the door slam was incredibly difficult because if I did it too early, the Verdugo would jump out of the way with a backflip like a goddamn badass, avoiding damage. And if I did it too late, he'd smash the door down and then proceed to take advantage of my body. So, I had to time the door kick perfectly for however long he took to kill. Not only this, but the Verdugo would get close to the door, smash it once, and then I'd have about 2 seconds before he completely broke it down permanently. At first, I tried kicking the door open when he first smashed it because that told me he was right in front of it. But like I said, he'd backflip out of the way if I did this and I wouldn't damage him. Then I figured out that if I door kicked him right at the last millisecond before he broke the door down, it would hit him every time. But in between each successful door kick, I'd have to purposely fail to make him backflip to essentially reset him. Because if I didn't and I got greedy, he'd somehow be beside the door, avoid my door kick entirely, and attack me in the room. First, what I did before trying to completely door kick him to death was use my infinite hand cannon on him to see how many shots he took. For me on normal mode, it was about 9 fully upgraded hand cannon shots to kill him. So then, being the little smarty I am, I bought the weakest handgun you could get and used that on him to bring him down to the absolute least amount of health possible. So this time, I only used 8 hand cannon bullets on him to keep him alive and then went for my handgun. Even after using the hand cannon on him, the Verdugo still took around 50 handgun bullets to kill. I didn't count exactly, but I just winged it. So for my third and final attempt, I used the 8 hand cannon bullets, a little less than 50 handgun bullets, and I went for the door kicks. And after using the hand cannon and the handgun on him, I went for my first door kick, and on the very first door kick, the Verdugo died. Holy Christ, I couldn't believe I actually whittled down his health to the exact perfect amount to kill him on the first door kick. Now, it was just a matter of perfectly timing the kicks from start to finish until the Verdugo was dead. After failing lots of times for hours and hours, I finally mastered a technique that could kill the Verdugo in 2 hours and was twice as fast as my previous strategy I talked about, and it didn't risk the Verdugo breaking down the door if I messed up the timing a little bit. Yes, it's still 2 hours of wasted time, but it makes killing the Verdugo with no weapons possible. Basically, all I did was slowly inch myself towards the door until the open prompt just barely appeared. Meaning, I was as far away from the door as I could be while still being able to kick it open. Then, the moment the Verdugo smashed the door, I'd door slam him with the might of Zeus, and it would hit him every time. I don't know why being far away from the door makes this different with me being able to hurt him every time, but it works. I'm not kidding when I say I repeated this for 2 hours, perfectly timing each door kick at the exact moment and staying alert the whole time. And eventually, after doing this for so long that my thumb was in pain, I did it. I killed the Verdugo from start to finish using only a door. I felt so badass when I finally saw that crispy body hit the floor, and I can officially say after searching the internet and YouTube for a long time, I'm the first person in the world who has recorded proof of the Verdugo being absolutely destroyed, door only. I'll be uploading it to my second channel called Dante Ravioli Proof, and if you're watching this right now, it's probably already there. I realized that some of my challenges are so crazy that it'd be stupid not to upload some sort of proof to another channel. Don't get me wrong, I will not be uploading proof of every video I do, or most of them for that matter. But like I said, feats like this deserve their own proof videos for you guys to see for yourselves. The video will be uncut, except for any time I pause the game, which happened 2 or 3 times since the PS4 recording software can only go on for about an hour before I have to start a new recording. But other than that, it's uncut from start to finish. If you guys didn't know, I'm doing a new thing called the difficulty scale that tells you how hard I thought the challenge was compared to other challenges I've done. I'm gonna give this challenge a 5 out of 10 because it's not so much that it was hard, it was that I had to perfectly time button presses for 2 hours, not counting the hours I spent figuring out strategies and failing. So, can you kill the Verdugo in Resident Evil 4 with only a door? Hell yes you can, if you don't mind wasting 2 hours of your life. If you enjoy watching Resident Evil challenge videos, subscribe to my channel because I do new Resident Evil gaming challenge videos every week. I've made plenty of Resident Evil 2 challenge videos on my channel, so go check those out. The links will be in the description below. And click the notification bell or else you pretty well aren't subscribed to me. Just make sure you click that bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you boys in my next video.